Back in the 80s and in the 90s, I was not a gamer. I was way too busy creating castles and pirate ships with my Legos and playing Mylon's Secret Castle or maybe Star Tropics on my NES. For you young folk, that's the Nintendo Entertainment System. You know what was real big was wargaming. Now I'm no expert here, so I'm going to defer all expertise to my good buddy and designer Seppi Yoon, who was around in the 80s and 90s as a tabletop gamer and for quite a while before. We won't mention exactly how long, right, Seppi? But it's been a few. What was cool is wargamers really kept the hobby alive. But what else was interesting is these wargamers, they played around with solo modes. I didn't know that. Now, when I mention that, what this means is these war games are usually some sort of a board where you are playing against an opponent in a very historically accurate setting. So they played around with solo modes way back then. But then, oh my goodness, then came the internet. Now, if you were around when the internet came around, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Summertime, maybe 1995. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. You get your first summer crush. You spend the day running through the flooded streets of the Florida Keys because a storm just came through and it was safe to run through the streets back then. And you get home. You get home, you go up those stairs, and you come in, and there in the living room is this mammoth Goliath machine, the 386 processor, the hottest computer that can be found, with a floppy disk drive and a CD-ROM drive. And you know what else? You sit down, you click those keys, and MS-DOS fires up, and you feel like you're a hacker with Angelina Jolie in that 90s movie, The Hackers. You remember that? Or maybe it was just Hackers. There was no the. Regardless, you get in, and then comes that dial tone. You know that dial tone. It means it's shutting your phone line off because you can't have a phone line and the internet. No, sir. And then comes America Online that you're using with yet another free trial CD-ROM disc that you've put in. But you know what else came with the internet other than those annoying and very fond memories? It brought print and play games. Now, maybe they were around before that, but they started getting exchanged more, right? And you know what else came with print and play games? Solo modes. 2000, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Carcassonne is released. That's right. All the way back in 2000 when we had golden tips in our hair. Days of NSYNC and really Backstreet Boys and all that stuff. Whatever, I was more of a Smashing Pumpkins, garbage, that kind of thing. But anyway, Carcassonne changed the face of what a board game is, right? We were playing things like Clue and 13 Dead End Drive, which if you haven't played is so fun. Love it. Fireball Island, all that stuff. But Carcassonne, it introduced a new game. Jump ahead, 2004. Ticket to Ride. Oh, now you know where this is going. You're putting the thumbnail and the title together with what is all this rambling about. We're getting there. Stay with me. Ticket to Ride is released. Brings in so many new players. Great game. People love it. Colorful trains, player interaction. We're going to jump forward more. What is it? 2008. Am I right? I'm right. 2008. Settlers of Catan. Now, I didn't know it was that new, but I remember seeing Settlers of Catan for the first time. I played for maybe 20 minutes. For me, it was enough to make me want to play more games. I know that. I didn't get the chance to then. But Settlers of Catan is quite possibly the gateway game that we owe so much to for bringing new people in. But during that period with those three games, do you know what's missing? Solo mode. Where'd they go? They were around. 2007, we're going to go back a year, 2007, Zombie in My Pocket, a print and play game that became like, I guess you could call it a cult hit. Is that what we're calling it these days? Is that what the kids are calling it? Whatever you crazy kids are calling it now. It became a classic solo print and play. So solo games still alive and well, but wait, let's jump forward just a little bit more. 2011. I'm pretty sure I've got this down. I'm not even going to look at my notes. 2011. Friedman Freeze. You heard that name? He made a little game called Friday. This was during this crazy time. It was long after that period where, native chants were being blended with like new age and techno music. Remember that period? Well, this is after that. Instead, Robinson Crusoe themed games were like the jam, right? But I think this one started it all. Anyway, Friday. How many players for that game? One. Only one. Interesting. And this has gone from away from print and play. We now have a published game. Maybe there were others before that. I know there were war games. Let's go ahead. 2012, 1 year later, again, the Robinson Crusoe fever. That theme is just going wild. And there's a man over in Poland. What's his name? Ignacy Cevicek. Ignacy Cevicek publishes Robinson Crusoe and The Adventures on Cursed Island, I think. I'm always getting the rest of the title wrong. But how many players in that game? Interesting. 1 to 4 players. It's cooperative. You can see I'm getting excited now. Cooperative game. Okay. But not only can you play it as one person controlling cooperatively several characters, there's a dedicated solo mode. Friday 2011. Okay. 2012, Robinson Crusoe. 2015. There's this guy, super cool 90s dude. He is the 90s dude, and man, don't change. I love it. I'm here for it. AJ Porfirio. AJ Porfirio publishes Hostage Negotiator. Not everybody's heard of Hostage Negotiator. How many players? 1 player. But they're probably familiar with the re-implementation or recreation or remake known as this little game. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Final Girl. It like funded like over $2 million in a matter of hours. But it started with Hostage Negotiator, 2015 solo game. Okay. 2016, I'm pretty sure. Or is it 18? It's 2016. Jamie Stegmaier, you know where this is going. Jamie Stegmaier, Stonemaier Games. What does he make? He makes a game called Scythe. Very head-to-head, confrontational game, area control. But there's another designer involved. We've got Morten Monrad Peterson. Say it 100 times because he deserves it. He created a sophisticated AI opponent, a system called the Atoma Factory. That's right, this is an AI opponent that the player can play against in area control. If that's all they want to do to try to beat that AI opponent or to practice so they can get better for further tournaments or games with their friend. 2019. This is about the time I enter the hobby. By this time, the floodgates are wide open on solo modes. They are everywhere. We get to today. You go into a game store, I guarantee you half the games in there, you're able to play as a solo player. Some games aren't designed for that. It's okay. Some are. Today, we have so many solo games that we need YouTube channels. Like this one, with geeks like me, trying to help you find the right solo games for you, because there are so many, and I almost hit my coffee. This is why I can't be on real TV. But there are so many, I can't possibly get through them all. It's a wonderful problem to have. Well, that brings us to now. The crux of this video, that's right. Is that how you say it? Or is it the cruise? I don't know. There's an X. But we're going to June 7th, 2024. That was the day. The basis for the title of this video. Board Game Geek has a great podcast. It's hosted by Candace. And Candace, if you're watching this, I hope somebody send this to Candace, please. It's a compliment. You have kept me company many times while I'm washing windows during my day job. And I appreciate that. You have good information among some other very great podcasts out there. Anyway, Candace, in episode 44, Board Game Hobby Pet Peeves, we're going to get into some quotes here. Candace chats with special guest Alan Moon. Oh, you know where I'm going, don't you? Don't you? We're going to do this. All right. What were they talking about? Well, you guessed it, the title. Board Game Pet Peeves. Okay, things that get on your nerves. All right. Who's Alan Moon? He is the designer of Ticket to Ride. The pieces are coming together. All right. We're getting to the meat. Stay with me. Stay with me. All the way back in 2004, Ticket to Ride. But remember, when he designed Ticket to Ride, and as he plays games, Solo modes were not, they existed, but they were an underground, very niche thing. They're still niche, but they were very niche. It was not the dominant thing. It was a different world back then, okay? Different world for designers, too. I would love to hear their take on it and what it was like then. But anyway, solo gaming was young, wobbling along, finding its sea legs. In this podcast, it's actually a refreshingly honest, fun discussion about pet peeves. We've seen it 100 times. It's always a good time. Honesty is good. Alan talks about his first one. His first pet peeve, and I quote, "Whenever people use the term broken," unquote, to describe a game. Totally fair. And he goes on to talk about that. Candace takes her turn. What's her first pet peeve? It's so nerdy in the best way. It's when people mix up the words dice and die. Yeah. Singular versus plural getting mixed up. Drives her nuts. Pet peeve. All right. It's relatable. It's honest. Remember those words. Relatable, honest. Then comes Alan's pet peeve number 2. Now this one set a little wave in motion, little response through the gaming community, through solo gamers. Not just to defend themselves maybe, but just to declare their space. Why? Okay. What is his second pet peeve? Solo mode games. Okay, we're getting close to home. Getting close to home. Relatable for many. Honest. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, to be fair, how many solo gamers have pet peeves, right? I mean, conga line. Okay, let's say you're minding your own business. This is going somewhere. You're minding your own business at a wedding, right? You're standing to the side. The conga line's going around. You back away into a corner, right? You get your drink up. You're sipping. You are minding your own business. Somebody tries to get you. Come on, join the line. No, thank you. I'm fine. I don't want to. And then somebody yanks you. That's right. A full-on headlock. And they drag you into that conga line. And they put their hands onto your waist. Claws digging in. You can't escape. You are trapped in this conga line. You have to shake. And you have to kick. And the conga line never ends. And you're forced in it. You don't want to be there. No one should be in that situation. That conga line, it's probably still going. When does it end? Nobody has found the answer. Nobody should be forced to do something they don't want to do. Solo gamers don't like being forced to play a party game when they don't want to. I love party games. I love solo games. Not everybody's that way. Who wants to be forced to do something they don't want to do? He goes on to explain. He keeps getting told he has to do a solo mode for his games. He doesn't want to. That's his pet peeve. He doesn't want to do it. But, and that's all fair, he shouldn't have to. Not every game needs a designer or needs a solo mode. Not every designer has to do solo games. That's why you have 2 designers in a game, right? You have the designer of the multiplayer part, the base game, and you might have a special designer like a Julian Pombo for the solo mode, though he does his own games now too, but fantastic solo designer. All right, let's keep going. We come to timestamp, if you choose to listen to this, 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 38 seconds in, and I will have all kinds of links and notes and things in the description, don't worry. But he states his natural response when asked to make a solo game is, quote, "Go get some friends," unquote. And that is what sparked the reaction, right? Is where he stated again, honest, and for many, relatable. What he thinks of when he thinks of a solo game is, go get some friends. He doesn't understand, he explains, he doesn't understand. If you can play games with other people, why would you want to play a game by yourself? He understands playing solitaire, putting a puzzle together. But why would you want to do that? So the only reasonable conclusion could be, you must need friends. And now you are bothering me, burdening me, asking me to make you something I don't want to make because you need to make friends. Honest. Relatable. It may not be the most tactful or well said, but it's honest, right? Solo gamers hear this and they go, ouch. It brings us to the heart of our discussion, though. I don't want to get too lost in the weeds on what Alan said because that's his opinion. And he should be able to say that. It's fine. We'll all be fine. Just when it seemed the episode was turning south, though, getting back to that real quick, to give credit to Candace, boy, she swooped in there and she balanced things out. I think she did a great job. Brought out how she enjoys playing games with others, but she also she loves playing games solo. So it was a nice rounded discussion by the end of it. Excellent job. All right. So, who is this strange breed of people that we call solo gamers? Why do they play solo? And why might someone maybe want to look into it, understand it better? Do they just need friends? Well, let's start with the elephant in the room, right? A difficult topic. Maybe they do. Not all, but I'm saying if you're watching this and you're someone who's in the board game hobby, you really enjoy it, you love playing games, you're playing solo, but you're playing because you need to. You're playing and you're thinking, you're playing Nemesis and you're thinking, I would love to play this with others. That might be the case. And it might be that you're having a hard time making friends because it's a hard thing to do, right? Maybe it's a new place. Maybe you're young and growing up. Maybe something's changed in your life. Maybe you're having a hard time. Maybe you need friends. That's okay, right? Right? That's fine. I hope that you push yourself just a little past your comfort zone every day to be a good friend, to build a friendship, go through all the disappointments and the hurt. And there's a lot of it. Believe me, I'm speaking from experience as someone that really needed to mature a lot. But you'll get there and you'll get the friends and they will sit down and play your favorite game with you. And maybe at that point, you won't want to play games solo anymore. Maybe you will. So many different types of people. But let's clear that one out. Maybe you do just need friends, and that is okay. I hope that you keep working to get them. Quick break from the script makes me think actually of the changes in this channel. So if you've been watching from the beginning, you may have noticed a slight change in maybe demeanor, even theme, representation, where in the beginning I was at least trying to be very over the top. And honestly, I believe that's because I knew that this topic of board games by yourself, I enjoy playing board games by myself, is so ridiculous that I'm going to make the channel over the top and ridiculous with it. Like owning it. Like I know, this is silly, this is ridiculous, but I like it, whatever. As I've gotten more comfortable with solo gaming, less shame around it, then I'm more comfortable being myself on camera, talking with you. Back to the script. The elephant's been named and welcomed into the room. Let's invite more people in. Okay. Who else might want to play solo games? Maybe you're a very competitive person. Maybe you're very confrontational, right? So we already talked about side a little, so maybe that's your game. Something like that. Area control, face-to-face. But you are competitive, so you want the best strategies. That's right. You want to go through all of them. You want to break this game. Find all the little weaknesses you can. Play as every faction. Well, you can do that playing solo, practicing. It's not the same as a human opponent. The strategies are going to need altered a little, just like when you're learning chess. But you're going to learn a lot. You're going to master your factions, and then you're going to go head-to-head with your buddy. But you're going to love that time that you are studying and competing against yourself and the AI opponent. Who else? Let's keep going. Maybe you work at the office all day. Okay. You work at the office. It's a very social job. Let's say it's a corporate office job, right? You're on fire. You're answering phones all day. You're going in and out of meetings, seeing people all day. You get home. You just want some time alone. But you know what you want to do? You want to play a game. So what do? Maybe you open the window. Pour yourself a hot drink. You listen to the sound of the birds and the breeze. Or maybe it's just loud traffic and honking horns and people shouting. Whatever. It's noise. And you get out your favorite game, Honey Buzz. And you become the best little beekeeper in town. You have such a nice evening. And then you go spend some time with your family. Go out with your friends. Come back home, go to bed. Or maybe you're just a boy at heart still. I'm not talking from experience here, even though you're supposed to be a man. And you still love the idea of being that 80s action hero that's running up the skyscraper with nothing but your ridiculous muscles and ridiculous charm and wit to save the woman at the top, the woman of your dreams that you've been waiting for. You know, it's in there. Don't act like you don't relate. So maybe you want to play a game of Hunted. Kobayashi Tower. I hope I said it right. I almost always say it wrong. You get the point. Or maybe, a little more serious here, maybe you struggle with mental health. I relate with this one a lot. Maybe you have depression. Maybe you have anxiety. Pick your poison. There's plenty of it. Maybe you need something to calm you. Maybe you have PTSD, but you want to get away from a screen. You don't want to watch TV. Maybe you want the TV on in the background so you hear people in the room. You know, that's nice. But maybe even though you want to hear people around, you need to be alone. And so you lay a game out. And you go through on this fantastic star-traversing adventure, right? Your very own Star Trek. Going through campaign, maybe number 20. Let's say number 20 in ISS Vanguard. And as you play, your heart rate goes down. Your breathing slows down. Your head clears a little. And by the end of the campaign, you're better for it. Or maybe, stay with me, maybe you just love a great story. Like something cozy. So you get your favorite hoodie with a little kitten ears on it. You know, you put the hood up with the kitten ears. Or maybe it's Moogles, you know, the little pom-poms, little mog poop. We'll see who knows what that is. Or maybe you like bunny ears, whatever. Whatever your thing is, you get all cozy and you bundle up in your little nook with your big oversized tray in your lap. And you lay out Ela in something shiny. And as you take little Ela into that scary forest, you almost have a little tear of nostalgia as she works so hard to face her fears, to get whatever's needed to help heal Grandmother Tree. Things getting too fluffy for you. Maybe you just want to be a detective for the night. You know, your very own Humphrey Bogart. So you pop out Detective City of Angels. You get your favorite drink. You sit back, and you find out, through your own investigations, that it was actually the Don's daughter that orchestrated everything. That's right. Daddy's little princess is actually Daddy's little murderer. And you alone solved the crime and put her behind bars, bringing justice for all. Good job, detective. Good job. I can go on and on. There are so many different types of solo gamers, different reasons to play solo. People that like playing with groups, that then like to play solo. People who only play alone. But there's so much value in the genre, and we're so glad that it's growing. Some of us, maybe we do just need friends. Maybe we are just weird geeks. But let me introduce you, if you haven't met them already, to some of these weird geeks. All right, let's take a look here. We have warriors right here. That's right, Mike, the one and only true Mike. If you know what WoW is, yes, he's actually a warrior. You'll get it if you know. Then we've got this stud here. We've got travelers. That's right. Dave here and his lovely wife Hannah. I couldn't find a picture of Hannah. I know it's somewhere in there. I'm sorry, Hannah. We've got gardeners. We've got this dude whose last name is actually Marvel. It's actually Marvel. Nothing more needs to be said. We have adventurers. We have athletes. Yes, Mark, you have muscles. You get it. We have Lily. Don't need to say any more. We have a cat and her employee, Bee. We have style influencers. Just look at that. We have big YouTube channels. We have bloggers. We have photographers. Tens of thousands of solo gamers. I don't know the number. If you do, tell me. But it's definitely at least that many, if not many, many more. And of course, there's me. Howdy. Welcome to Board Games for One if this is your first time. If not, welcome back. So, closing this out. Alan, I hope that nobody continues to pressure you to make solo modes. Actually, I take that back. There is one person that I hope it does. I hope that your best friend, whoever your best buddy is, Maybe it's your spouse. I hope that they pressure you to make a solo mode just for the sake of annoying you, because that is what people who love you do. They try to get on your nerves. And so I hope that they do that. And I hope someday you get to meet some of us. I hope we get to sit down and play a game together. And then, when we're done, I hope you get to go home, pour your favorite drink, put your feet up, get that rule book out for that new game from that new up-and-coming designer, and flip to the solo mode rules to try and understand why on earth someone would play, let alone design, these abominations. Seriously though, I would love to meet you. I would love to play a game with you. Show me how to make the best rail track. I don't know. I'm not good at it. As always, thank you. I love you all. I'll see you next time.